Lines from an Essay on Man, written by Alexander Pope. Alexander Pope was born in 1688 and died in 1744. And this long philosophical poem actually was addressed to Sir Lord Bolingbroke, who was a renowned political figure of Pope's time. And uh, as you know that we are going to make the critical appreciation of this poem, so we have to keep upon the elements like substance, imagery, that means the use of figures of speech, and also rhythm, that how the poet has created musical impact in the poem, and also the sound effects, that how do we feel when we listen to this poem, because poetry is all about listening, and most striking lines as well. Well, moving forward, we have to remember that this poem is actually composed in heroic couplet, and heroic couplet, is a sort of a 10 syllabled line. That means a line in which there are 10 syllables, and one syllable usually is a stressed one, and another syllable is an unstressed one. So that means there are five pairs of stressed and unstressed syllables in a poem with, that is written in heroic couplet. And also, this sort of poem or this sort of prosody is called pentameter. So this is also about rhythm. This particular information relates to the rhythm. And also, when we go through the poem, see, heaven from all creatures hides the book of fate, all but the page prescribed their present state. So if you look at these two lines, students, as I pointed out that these are 10 syllable lines, you can collect that there are 10 syllables in each line, and that's why I have segregated, or I have dissected these lines into 10 syllables to point out that how there are 10 syllables. Heaven 1, from 2, all 3, create 4, chairs 5, hides 6, the 7, book 8, of 9, and fate 10. So these are 10 syllables, and heaven is a stressed one syllable, and from is an unstressed, because in a stressed syllable you actually make a lot of effort to utter that word or that sound from your mouth, and in an unstressed syllable, that syllable actually comes out of your mouth without any great effort. So that is why such a syllable is called unstressed syllable. So heaven from all creatures hides the book of fate, all but the page prescribed their present state. That means God hides what is written in the fate of creatures. All the makhlukat, hides, creatures means makhlukat. All the creatures, their fate is written by God before their creation, but God does not tell them. Allah does not tell them that what is their fate. All but the page. That means the present. The present state actually tells them that in what state they are. Otherwise, they do not know what is going to happen to them in the future. And this is a sort of a blessing upon human beings and upon other creatures as well, because if they know what sort of sorrows, what sort of miseries, what sort of problems, or what sort of big challenges are going to come before their way, then definitely they would have found it very difficult to live and to face them in future. But Allah keeps them hidden from them, and he says that from all brutes, from brutes what men, from men what spirits know, or who could suffer being here below. Now look at this line. This is also a figure of speech, and this sort of figure of speech is called climax. In climax, what happens, that you move from some lower thing to some higher thing. So brutes are lower to men, similarly men are lower to spirits, and that is why the poet has written that from brutes what men, from men what spirits know. That means brutes know very little, men know more than them. Similarly, spirits know more than men as well, but there is another entity, Almighty Allah, and he knows everything. So everyone has limited knowledge, but Allah has the complete knowledge of a human being and of about everything in this world. So from brutes what men, from men what spirits know, or who could suffer being here below. Otherwise it would have become very difficult for human beings to suffer the miseries of life if they would have known that these are the things that are going to happen to them in the future. The lamb, now here he gives an example that how this is so. He says that the lamb the riot dooms to bleed today. Had he thy reason, would he skip and play? That means the lamb that is playing with you, that is frolicking, that is making his mischiefs here and there, you have decided to butcher him today so that you may cook his flesh. So that lamb, if he had thy reason, if he had known what is going to him in the future, would he skip and play? That means this is a rhetorical question as well. So writer is asking a rhetorical questions, that the lamb that is playing with you, if he would have known that sooner or later he is going to be butchered, he is going to be slaughtered, and then his flesh would be cooked, then he wouldn't have skipped and played, and he wouldn't have frolicked here and there, he wouldn't have enjoyed his present state. So that is why the simple message of these lines is live in the present and make the most of it. So whatever you have in the present, just be thankful to Allah and just make the most of it. And this is also a rule, students. If you make your present better, then your future also, there is a possibility that your future will also become better. But if you do not make your present better, then there are all sorts of possibilities that your future will also not be a good one. Again, in the next line, the writer says, pleased to the last, he crops the flowery food and licks the hand just raised to shed his blood. Pleased to the last. That means the lamb, enjoys his life to the last of his breath, and he crops the flowery food. That means he eats the flowery food. Even sometimes what happens, that when we bring these animals for slaughtering, we also feed them. So we also give them water, we also give them their desired food, and then later on we slaughter them as well. So he says that had he thy reason, would he skip and play? Pleased to the loss, he crops the flowery food and licks the hand just raised to shed his blood. Oh, blindness to the future kindly given. So this is an apostrophe. That means in apostrophe you actually address inanimate or abstract concepts. So oh, blindness means lack of knowledge, that we do not know the things about future, and this is also a blessing upon us. So the writer is saying that, oh, blindness to the future kindly given, के oh अनअवेयरनेस या ये गफलत जो कि खुदा ने हमें दी है, इट इज काइंडली गिवन टू अस, ये खुदा की हम पर मेहरबानी है. दैट ईच में फिल द सर्कल मार्क्ड बाय हेवन. दैट ईच में फिल द सर्कल, के हर आदमी जो है वो सर्कल या वो तकदीर का पूरा दायरा जो कि खुदा ने उनके लिए तख्लीक किया है उसको वो पूरा कर सके. दैट ईच में फिल द सर्कल मार्क्ड बाय हेवन. Who sees with equal eyes as God of all, a hero perish or a sparrow fall? So that means a person who is a hero in front of you, and he is recording his great deeds, and people are just wondering at his greatness. There is a possibility that in near future he will perish, he will see the downfall. So his downfall is also in the eyes of God, as his present great state is in the eyes of God and the people. But people do not know the future downfall that he is going to face, but God knows it as well. Or a sparrow fall, whatever is happening in this world, God knows, and it is in his knowledge. His knowledge is complete from this point of view. Atoms or systems into ruin hurled, and now a bubble burst, and now a world. So this is what is happening, that great things, wonderful systems that are created by human beings. Not only in the past, there have been the stories of the great systems that were created by humans in the past. They are also ruined. They have also had a particular time frame, and they lived till that time frame, and then they saw their end as well, as per the fate of Almighty Allah that was written for them. So similarly, and now a bubble bursts. So they are just like bubbles that bursts for the time being, that moves on the surface of the water for the time being, and then it bursts, and now a world. And similarly, dwellings of human beings also have a set time, and they will also perish when the time will come, as per the decree of Almighty Allah. So hope humbly then with trembling pinion soar. Now this is a beautiful message in the light of all this awareness, in the light of all this knowledge that the God has given. The God says that now, so hope humbly then with trembling pinion sore. So that means, always keep hope from Almighty Allah for the best. Keep hopeful of His bounty, of His blessing, and be thankful for whatever is given to you for the present. Hope humbly then. It is better to remain hopeful than to be hopeless, because if you are hopeless, then life will become a very difficult thing for you. So hope humbly then with trembling pinion sore, and do not show any arrogance. Do not exult upon the great things or upon the good things that are happening to you. Just remain, humble before Almighty Allah. So that is why he says that with trembling pinion sore. So this is a sort of a metaphor, students. That means with trembling pinion sore means, pinion means the wings of a bird, with the power of which he or she flies. So he says that with trembling pinion soar. If you are soaring, if you are finding great heights in this world, soar means to get higher and higher. Buland hona. Soar ka matlab buland hona. So if you are getting higher and higher in this world, then get higher with trembling pinions. Remain humble in that state as well, and remain thankful and remain good to human beings around him. Do not show any arrogance in that state. Wait the great teacher death and God adore, and keep adoring your God. Keep remain thankful to Almighty Allah for the good things that He is giving to you, and adore Him. Adore means hamdo sana karna, तारीफ करना, अल्लाह की बड़ाई बयान करना. तो अल्लाह की बड़ाई जो है वो बयान करते रहें, और जस्ट वेट टिल द एंड, और अपनी मौत के इख्तिताम तक जो है आपने यही रवैया जो है उसको कायम रखना है. बिकॉज योर डेथ विल टीच यू व्हाट वाज द राइट कंडक्ट. Because after death we will come to know the reality of our actions, if they were good or bad, so or the results of our actions. So death is a great teacher. So again, death actually has been personified here. So this is also a figure of speech, students, that is called personification. So there is also a great metaphorical language that is used in this poem to point out the philosophy that Alexander Pope has about fate and about human beings and about the conduct that they should adopt in this world. So he says that what future bliss He gives not thee to know, but gives that hope to be thy blessings now. That the good things that are going to happen to you, or the bad things that are going to happen to you, He does not give you the knowledge of that, but gives that hope. So he wants you to remain hopeful from Him. So here hope actually is also once again being personified, that He gives you that hope to be thy blessing. So your hope is also your blessing. Never remain or never be hopeless. Never be hopeless. Always have good hope from Almighty Allah, and Allah likes the ones who actually have great hopes, good hopes from Him. Hope springs eternal in the human breast. So hope is something that always keeps rising in the human breast. Man never is, but always to be blessed. So this is the hope. This is the kind of hope that the poet also has from Almighty Allah, that what is the ultimate end of a man, that he is always to be blessed. He will be forgiven. He will be he will be saved from the fire of hell in the end, if he is following the commands of Almighty Allah. So man never is, but always to be blessed. So this is also a kind of inverted construction, students. In inverted constructions, we actually change the grammatical structure or grammatical settings of the words. The actual setting of this sentence would have been, man is never but always to be blessed. But what the writer has done, that in order to create a poetical impact, or just to enhance the emphasis in his idea, he has inverted the construction, and he has said that man never is but always to be blessed. The soul, uneasy and confined from home, rests and expiates in a life to come. So our soul, actually, as far as this world is concerned, this world is not our true home. So that is why our soul is uneasy and confined, and feels confined in this world. So definitely when the time of death will come and we will be with God, that will be the place, or that will be the world, that is our eternal world, and then our soul will be in rest, and it will expatiates means it will move freely in a life to come. As far as this world is concerned, here our soul is confined, but confined means kaid mein, but it will expatiates, or that means it will move freely, it will be free in a life to come. So it will be free means also there are a number of blessings that we do not have in this world, due to a sort of test that Almighty Allah has put us in. But definitely in future all those blessings will be the part of our life as well. So that is how this poem is, students. So there you see that if we talk about the substance of this poem, the substance of these lines is simple, that human beings do not know about their fate, what is going to happen to them in the future, and this is also a kind of blessing for them. And they should be simply thankful for the present state in which they are, and they should enjoy all the good things that Almighty Allah has given to them in the present. And they should also remain hopeful for their future as well. This is what Almighty Allah wants from them, that they should remain hopeful. And from imagery point of view, you would have seen that the writer has used different figures of speech. Metaphors are there, and also rhetorical questions are used in it, and also climax is used, and also some other figures of speech are used to highlight, or to magnify his way of stressing the point of view that he is presenting before us. And also, as far as the rhythm is concerned, the poem is written in iambic pentameter. That means there are 10 syllables in each line. One syllable is stressed and another syllable is unstressed, so that means there are 5 pairs of stressed and unstressed syllables in it. And also it is in heroic couplet. That means there are 10 syllables in it. Okay, so moving forward, sound effects, it's very beautiful to listen to this poem, by the way. It's very free flowing, in spite of such wonderful rules of prosody are used so steadfastly in this poem, but still it's a very beautiful poem to listen to, and we do not find any difficulty in understanding it. And that is why the 18th century poetry used to be called a prosaic poetry in its nature, students, because that was the sort of I should say parameter that the poets of these times had kept before them, that their poetry should be simple and extremely easy to be understood by other people, though it should have the element of heroic couplet or iambic pentameter in it as well. So it's very beautiful to listen to. And also, moving forward, most striking lines, that means the most striking lines are the first 2 lines, by the way, and they also point out the the kind of major philosophy that the writer or the poet wants to emphasize, as it says that heaven from all creatures hides the book of fate, all but the page prescribed their present state. So that is what is the basic thing, that you do not know anything about your future, so you don't need to be worried about it as well. You just have the present state in front of you, so just enjoy the present, just make the most of it, just use your best qualities, your best efforts, spend it in the most hard working way, and definitely you will find out that your good deeds or your good things or your hard work that you have done in the present, it has made your future beautiful as well. If you are thankful to Almighty Allah in the present, then your present will also be good, as Almighty Allah says in the Holy Quran that if you are thankful to me, I will give you more, but if you show ingratitude, then I will take away from you whatever is there with you. So by being thankful simply means to use the make the most of. So by being thankful simply means to make the most of your present time, use it in the most useful way. And similarly, by being ungrateful simply means do not to acknowledge the good things that Almighty Allah has given you, and to keep complaining about sufferings or the hardships that Almighty Allah has put you in. But remember, students, that sometimes these hard times that come in your life, these hardships that come in your life, they also come to teach you something great. They also come to let you recognize something, some great ability that you possess. And once you recognize that ability, or once you learn something great in those difficult times, that new learning on that, or the discovery of that great ability, also keeps you helping in your future as well. So that is why present is always a blessing if we are thankful to Allah, and if we are spending it in the most useful way, being thankful to Allah. Doesn't matter if we are in good state or bad state, remaining thankful simply means working hard and learning something new, and remaining positive or hopeful for the future. Thank you.